welcome to Daryo Weekly Roundup. I'm Mohinoy Nazarova, bringing you the week's top stories from Uzbekistan and the world, where economic growth, global partnership and reforms are shaping the world. Inflation in Uzbekistan is easing, according to the latest data. In March 2026, annual inflation slowed to 7.1%, down from 10.3% a year earlier, based on figures from the National Statistics Committee. On a monthly basis, consumer prices rose, bringing the increase since the start of the year to 1.9%. Food prices increased by an average of 1.2% in March, accounting for more than 76% of overall rise. Tomatoes rose by 11.5%, potatoes by 9.8%, apples by 7.4%, and bananas by 6%. Meat, eggs, sugar, and vegetable oil also recorded moderate increases. At the same time, some vegetables declined in price. Cucumbers fell by more than 20%, while cabbage, onions, and carrots also became cheaper. In the services sector, prices rose at a slower pace. Housing maintenance, waste collection, and medical diagnostics saw slight increases. Airfares declined by 4.1%, while fuel prices, including gasoline and propane, also decreased. Taxi and freight services recorded small increases. Over the past year, services prices rose by 12.7% compared to 5.6% for food and 5.3% for non-food goods. Inflation trends remain broadly similar across regions. The data is based on monitoring more than 500 goods and services nationwide. Uzbekistan and the US are taking investment cooperation to the next level. Uzbekistan and the United States plan to launch a joint investment program in 2026 aimed at supporting major projects and attracting international capital. The initiative was discussed in Washington during talks between Saida Mirziyoyeva and Ben Black. The US International Development Finance Cooperation is expected to help attract American investors to Uzbekistan and share financial risks across a broader portfolio of projects. The agreement to establish the platform was initially signed during Shavkat Mirziyoyev's official visit to Washington on February 18th. The platform is intended to systematically promote priority sectors and large-scale investment projects between the two countries. On the same day, Mirziyoyeva also held talks with Marco Rubio, where both sides reviewed the outcomes of the US-Uzbekistan Business and Investment Council meeting. Discussions focused on expanding the portfolio of joint economic projects and strengthening bilateral cooperation. Additional talks with James and Greer addressed the efforts to develop mutually beneficial trade regulations between the two countries. Uzbekistan has seen a steady increase in foreign investment in recent years, with inflows more than doubling between 2023 and 2025. The new platform is expected to support further investment growth and facilitate the entry of the US companies into the Uzbek market, as big investments follow big partnerships. Moreover, Uzbekistan is moving up, and the numbers prove it. Uzbekistan has officially entered the moderate free category in 2026 Index of Economic Freedom, ranking 86 globally with a score of 60.3 points. That's a 2.3 improvement from the last year, pushing the country above the global average. Trade and investment are leading the way, with strong scores of 80.6 and 70 points, both higher than global benchmarks. Behind this program is real growth. Foreign trade jumped from $63.5 billion to $81.2 billion, while exports rose 36% over 2 years. Investment has more than doubled, reaching over $33 billion in 2025. However, early 2026 shows mixed signals, as export volumes declined due to lower gold sales. Uzbekistan's economy is opening up, but the next step is sustaining momentum. Science is becoming a new bridge between Uzbekistan and Russia. Uzbekistan and Russia are expanding cooperation in science and innovation, as a delegation from the Ural branch of the Russian Academy of Sciences visited a local research institute. The visit combines theoretical discussions with hand-on work in laboratories, giving both sides a practical look at each other's capabilities. During the meeting, Uzbek scientists presented modern equipment and ongoing research projects, opening the door for deeper collaboration. The partnership will focus on developing innovative technologies, applying research to industry, and training scientific personnel. A key goal is turning scientific idea into real economic results, from labs to production. This comes as Uzbekistan continues to increase investment in research and innovation infrastructure across the country. Officials say international collaboration is critical to accelerating technology transfer and improving competitiveness. Earlier, Uzbekistan also launched the Inno-Science Park in Jizzakh with Hungary, focusing on AI, engineering, and energy. The park is expected to support the startups and create new high-tech jobs in emerging sectors. Uzbekistan's business activity is accelerating fast. In March 2026, Uzbekistan's business activity index jumped 20.6% in just 1 month, reaching 1,206 points. The growth is broad, driven by banking, interbank payments, and especially exchange tradings. Commodity exchange turnover hit $580 million with transaction volumes more than doubling. Some sectors saw explosive growth. Fertilizers surged over 90 times, while metals and industrial materials also rose sharply. The number of activity business continues to grow, now exceeding 511,000 nationwide. However, not all indicators were positive. Trademark registrations declined slightly. The momentum is strong, and Uzbekistan's business engine is gaining speed. Uzbekistan reserves just saw a slight drop in a month. Uzbekistan's gold and foreign exchange reserves fell from $68.99 billion in March 2026, marking the first decline since June 2025. The drop of $8.9 billion or 10.5% reserved nearly all gains recorded since the start of the year. Gold remains the dominant component, accounting for over $60.8 billion of total reserves. Despite the value decline, gold volumes increased to 13.4 million troy ounces, showing continued accumulation. Global gold prices fell during March to around $4,500 per ounce, before recovering slightly above $4,800. Foreign exchange reserves also dropped by 17.4%, reaching $7.5 billion, their lowest level since January 2025. At the same time, foreign securities rose to over $1.5 billion, increasing their share in total reserves. These shifts reflect both global market volatility and active reserve management by the central bank. Uzbekistan is planning nuclear power plant and looking abroad for expertise. Uzbekistan is considering involving Belarusian specialists in building its first nuclear power plant in the Jizzakh region. Talks in Minsk focused on Belarus' experience in constructing and operating nuclear facilities, including the development of entire support cities like Ostrovets. The proposal includes not just the plant itself, but also infrastructure and housing for workers. Uzbek officials say the country currently meets its energy demand, but future growth requires long-term solutions. Electricity consumption in Uzbekistan is already around 15 gigawatts, with demand expected to rise significantly in the coming years. Officials also emphasize that attracting experienced international partners is key to ensuring safety, efficiency, and global standards in nuclear energy development. Further consultations and site visits are planned as Uzbekistan evaluates how Belarus' experience can be adapted to local conditions. Overall energy security today leads to the stability in the country. One game closer, and Sindarov is still leading the world stage. Uzbek Grandmaster Javokhir Sindarov held his position at the top of 2026 candidates tournament after drawing his 9th round game against Bluebum. Despite gaining an advantage in the middle game, the match transitioned into an equal end game and ended in a draw. With this result, Sindarov now has 7 points out of 9. Maintaining his lead in the standings. He remains the only player above the 7-point mark at this stage of the tournament. Meanwhile, Anish Giri secured the win in another match but still trails behind. Sindarov holds a 1.5-point advantage, a significant gap in a high-level tournament of this format. The competition features 8 of the world's top players, competing over 14 rounds for a 700,000 euros prize fund. He will next face Ramesh Babu Pragnanandha, with the white pieces a key strategic advantage. The winner earns the right to challenge reigning world champion Damaraj Gukesh for the title. And now every move of Sindarov could decide history. A serious warning for Uzbek and Israel. Uzbekistan's embassy in Israel is urging its citizens to stay on high alert amid rising tensions in the region. Officials are calling on people to strictly follow safety instructions and remain close to shelters all the time. In case of sirens or air raid alerts, citizens must immediately move to protected areas and wait for official clearance before leaving. The embassy also emphasized the importance of staying updated through official channels and emergency alerts. Citizens have been provided equipped with emergency contact numbers, including a dedicated hotline for urgent assistance. The advisory follows a series of escalating security development across the region, increasing the risk of sudden attacks. This is not the first warning. Similar alerts were issued earlier, including in March, highlighting potential missile threats. Afghanistan is stepping up its regional role, hosting the Afghanistan Central Asia Consultative Dialogue in Kabul for the first time since 2021. Leaders from across Central Asia gathered to strengthen cooperation, expand trade, and push forward regional integration. Right now, trade between Afghanistan and the region stands at $2.7 billion in 2025, but the goal is clear: reach $10 billion within the next 3-4 years. Major projects are driving these ambitions, including the Tapi gas pipeline, Casa 1000 energy project, and key trade roads like Lapis-Lazuli corridor. At the same time, countries are working together on security challenges, from border control to combating trafficking and extremism, because in this region, connectivity is becoming currency. A legacy that shaped nations remembered 690 years later. Uzbekistan is marking the 690th anniversary of Amir Temur, honoring one of its most influential historic figures. President Shavkat Mirziyoyev laid a wreath at Amir Temur Square and visited the newly renovated State Museum of Timurids History. The museum now features advanced technologies including AI, interactive displays. These upgrades aim to attract more visitors and make historical learning more engaging, especially for young generations. Nationwide, dozens of cultural, scientific, and educational events are being held throughout April. New books, films, and artworks are also being produced, expanding the cultural representation of the Timurid era. His work, Temur Tuzukları, continues to be studied as a historic guide to leadership and governance. Officials emphasize that his principles, including justice, state building, and knowledge, remain relevant today. The celebrations also reflect Uzbekistan's broader efforts to strengthen national identity through historic heritage. At all, history doesn't live in the past, it shapes the future of a nation. These were the key stories of the week. Thank you for watching Daryo Weekly Roundup. For more news and in-depth coverage, visit Daryo and follow us on social media.